on this. Good. But hello everybody. If you're watching from now, we're recording the webinar. At the moment, there is with us Pedro from Turkey, and you have joined other webinars before, like last year. I recognize you definitely, yes. Okay, so this morning it's about what Pedro has been studying and researching in his last few years, I would say. I don't know how many years, but it's a bit of time now, which is nonviolent communication mixed with your work with circle singing and then body percussion. So his work is still quite new in this sense, especially between teachers and educators. It's still not something that we are aware of. So for me, it's a very important thing that you're actually here today and that you will be in London this summer, so we can keep spreading these great resources that you have developed through this year. Do you hear the ding ding when somebody joins the group, or
I do.
Right. So let me take
ding,
it
ding.
off, because when you're actually doing and speaking is not helpful. Okay, so maybe little by little we will have more people, but just for a moment I would like to ask you maybe a couple of questions, Pedro, to start with, and maybe we'll have the conversation going, and then if you just want to do your webinar, okay? So
sure.
I think that, as I said, since we are still new to nonviolent communication, could you give us a little bit of an explanation of what is nonviolent communication and why it can be useful for teachers and educators?
Okay. Starting with the definition is always challenging because, well, to define is always challenging, isn't it? When you define something, what is this? When we deal with children, they are always asking, right? What is this? And then you are facing these, existential moments that I don't know. I don't know what this is. I don't know what love is. I don't know what these things are. But nonviolent communication, from my point of view, is many principles and reflections that we can make about how we understand relationships. And based on how we understand relationships, how we communicate. So it's not about exactly the right words that you're going to use, but it's more about how do you understand, how were you educated to understand relationships, and how were you trained to deal with conflicts? Are you trained, and probably everyone is trained with the logic of when you have a conflict, you ask who is right, and then you try to find who is right, who is wrong, who deserves to be punished, who deserves a reward. And these logics that we were trained in. And nonviolent communication invites us to think in a different way, in a more cooperative way. So the main goal, I would say, is to have healthier relationships and more cooperative relationships. It's not to make people like each other necessarily, but it's, to create an atmosphere that people are going to feel better and deal with conflicts in a healthier way, I would say. So this is a start. Yeah.
I think it's a great description. Yeah, I actually never heard it, because I've always just participated to webinars and courses, but I not specific courses about nonviolent communication. So I kind of had my idea, but I wasn't sure, and I think that was clarifying something for me. Do you think that it has been applied already in the sector of education in general? What do you think is the level of knowledge that teachers have related to this type of field?
I think it has been applied. There are people who study with me here in Brazil that they are working in schools and they are trying to, bring nonviolent communication to their schools, but it's not something huge, it's not something common, it's not traditional. But it's revolutionary, I think, and especially when people start bringing and showing that this is possible and this helps people being in conflicts together in a healthier way. I will soon be doing a teacher training here in Brazil to help the teachers, because the teachers are they are in touch with a lot of stuff in the classroom, and now after all this pandemic moment, they are back in their presential work, and now children have like a huge difference of levels of learning, and some children got the knowledge and they have other children who didn't have the development. So there is a huge diversity of cognitive development, and the teachers are always also stressed.
Yeah.
And so it's, to be a teacher, it's not easy to be a teacher. In general, it's not easy to be a teacher, because you're leading the ship, you're leading the whole thing, and can be a place of a lot of pressure, a lot of feelings that you are managing. And sometimes we don't want to be totally transparent with our feelings, because we don't want to hurt people as well, because we feel frustrated, we feel angry, we feel anxious, and sometimes we don't want to show that. So yeah, nonviolent communication can help us taking care of the teachers, taking care of the group, taking care of everyone's needs, basically. Yeah.
So can I ask, for example, how long usually it's like a training for teachers that you would do in Brazil? Do they have already the awareness that is a long process, or they are still asking for short terms workshops and the magic wand?
Well, I think everyone, I would say that everyone wants the shortest training, but the biggest results.
Yes.
Everyone, everywhere I go, they want the shortest training, please, because we don't have much time. We are always running around. But we really hope that this training, it's like,
Yeah.
changes everything. So this training that I'm gonna do, it's gonna be four workshops of 3 hours.
Okay.
And yeah, I would say this is, people are gonna get a feeling of what it is. But in my opinion, it starts really happening and it starts changing our resources when we engage in regular practice, in regular practice groups, study groups. Because if if you do a workshop, you're going to understand some ideas, but you need to train. It's like anything else, if you do a workshop of ukulele, cool, awesome, you're gonna learn some chords. But if you never practice it again with other people, it's not gonna have
Yeah.
much results. So yeah, regular and long term, I would say long term. But even though it's a long term thing, some things that you understand, it's like, it changes.
Yeah.
It clicks. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is interesting. So
Yeah.
there is also like a short term result as
Yeah,
well.
definitely. That's what happened to me, for example, because of course I never attended like a long course with you, or I'm not part of any type of community, although I'm thinking about that, but it's all in Portuguese at the moment, I think, at least the one that you are promoting.
Yeah.
But I think having seen you in different situations in through different years, quite regularly for those years, helped me to realize many things of the work that you were doing anyway, and try those things with my groups. So of course, if I always just look at what you do, and I'm like, oh, I haven't trained, I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm not even gonna try. In that
Mm,
sense, I'm discovering even less. But luckily
mm,
for me, I'm not that type of person. I'm just trying. Then maybe the people that
yeah.
is in front of me are gonna say she is completely crazy. What is things that is happening? Like
Mm,
the game of speaking between two people. So I tried that with children, with adults, with teachers, with elderly people, to see how, and I knew what were the goals of that specific activities just for that moment. I wouldn't expect to reach anything bigger. But going through this process of trying and thinking and practicing it even more really changed a lot of situations for me. And one conversation that we had specifically many years ago, which was about my own needs, that lasted probably an hour and a half, and that changed a lot. So it was just a very tiny thing, but I needed it so much that it opened up, and I kept thinking about it for a year, and eventually something clicked. So I think it's very powerful, even if it's a short thing. It just, because as you said, it's so revolutionary that it really can be, wow, this is something new. Should I try it or should I not? Because it can be also, create some conflicts within you as well, right?
yeah. Hello, and I just want to say hello
Yes,
to Dimitris and Federica.
exactly.
um, yeah, and this thing that you said, sometimes 1 hour of going deep into your needs, this is already really revolutionary because it's all about understanding our needs as well, so nonviolent communication really helps us connect with what's alive, no matter what's alive. Sometimes we don't decide what's going on inside, right?
Yep.
Many of the times we don't really decide, but it's really to be humble and to really connect to what's really alive. And then depending on how the environment is, you can also reveal that,
Mm-hmm.
reveal what's alive in you. And this can also be really interesting to review. I'm not saying that we should review everywhere, because some places are not really safe enough for us to review. We don't know how people are gonna react. So that's why it's so interesting to be a teacher, because you have all these powers of suggesting of, well, okay, let's try to do something here and try to build a specific relationship between people. And then slowly you notice that people are revealing themselves and connecting with themselves. And even children, even
Oh, yeah.
really young children, if you open a space for people to connect with themselves, to get to know their feelings, they start developing this culture, even without words, even,
Yeah. It's
it's
like
really
planting a
cool.
little seed, and
Yeah,
then that seed
yeah.
needs a little bit of water all the time. If you know you know that if you don't water that seed, that's gonna die. But you felt so good when you planted that little seed, and you really want a bit more and a bit more. So for me, when I come to your workshops and whenever I attended them before, it was always a moment of connection, just time for myself, for what I was feeling. And even if I was there in like as the organizer of a thing or had to check on stuff, but still I had the possibility to just have a bit of time for me. And that was amazing, and to connect with people in a different way. So once you've done it once and it's so powerful, you really want to recreate that situation in your own teaching, in your own classes. And I have to say that it really, really works. And I think literally yesterday night, I finished this and then I let you go with your webinar, but I just want to bring this practical example so people can understand better why I think it's important that you are giving this webinar right now. So yesterday night, evening, after one class, I had probably one of the most beautiful conversations that I could ever had with a parent. So she came to my classes with her daughter, and she attended the classes of another teacher, not my direct classes. And then the teacher reported me that the girl has been very complicated in the class and that she wasn't sure if she could manage this girl in her classes anymore. So she told that immediately to the mom. She was like, I'm not sure your child can come back, which is a very strong thing to say to a mother, right? She didn't say it in this way, but this was a message. So the mom then wrote me a message saying, I was expecting an email from you after what happened last Saturday. And I was already in the situation where like, oh my God, what's happening here? I was not aware of all of these crazy situations. So I found myself yesterday afternoon, actually morning, waking up with this email. And I was like, okay, don't worry, let's just talk about this. Shall we have a chat on the phone? So we connect on the phone, which is much better than emails. And I took 30 minutes of my afternoon to speak with this mom. Of course, I had to find the time to do it. And I understood that this mom was lost. She has a girl that potentially has ADHD or Asperger or hypersensitivity people. They don't know yet. So she arrived with this big charge on her head, which didn't share with us. So I told her, okay, don't worry, bring your daughter to my classes this afternoon so I can see better what's happening. If it's a very difficult girl, or if the teacher is completely crazy, you know. So she came to the classes and she went downstairs, but she could still hear what was happening in the class. Well, during the session, more than once, she wanted to come up apologizing, and she was like, I want to bring her away. I want to bring my girl away. This is not my child. What's happening? So she was just in such a difficult situation for herself. Eventually, the class was so complicated. This girl was everywhere. She's 3.5, behaving like a 2.5, completely in a regression situation, not listening, throwing the instruments, but having so much fun in all of this. She was not like miserable. She was having the time of her life. She loved to sing. She was tapping on the drums. She was very musical. So eventually, I had this conversation with a mom where she opened up completely, because I was, already being kind of trained for this type of things. I was like, okay, what's happening with this woman? What are her needs? I know my needs as a teacher, and I can accept to have this child or not, but let's listen to this mom. So she talked for 20 minutes saying that she doesn't have any clue of what's happening to her girl. She's completely different. And then the other teacher came upstairs as well, and we all had a nice conversation together. So it happens that the teacher also have a hypersensitivity situation, and the girl potentially has the same. So we kind of managed, but I really needed, I sit on the floor, she was on a step. So I put myself on a lower level to start with, because I thought that, physically also, I wanted to give her the possibility to feel stronger than me in that moment. And we had a lovely conversation. She almost started crying at some point, and she left saying, thank you so much. This is much more helpful compared to what happened in my school. I don't know what to do. So, you know, but we really need to open up and just forget that we have in that moment our own needs. It's so difficult. But yeah, this
Yeah.
was just an example of conflicts that can arise in our sector as teachers and
Yeah.
facilitators. We even with small kids.
Yeah, and I was listening to you and I was thinking, you know, there are sometimes in one situation, there are so many different conflicts happening at the same time. You know, you have a conflict with, you know, your relationship with the child, and then this child with conflicts with the other children, and then the parent, and you have a conflict with the parent has a conflict with the children
Yeah,
and with the child, and you know, and you have also like an inner conflict. What do I do? How do I react to
yeah,
this, you know? So there are many small conflicts happening at the same time,
yeah.
and it's wow, it's like it's challenging, but it's also, there is an expression that I really like, which is a conflict is is the system showing that it needs to be updated.
Mm.
It's like
Mhm.
there is something in the system that needs to be adjusted. So we don't have somebody who is guilty for something. Sometimes the child or the person is showing that the system needs to be adjusted so it can continue flowing, you know, it can keep flowing. But sometimes we don't have this answer. Sometimes we just want to, you know, we just want to take this person out and exclude this person because life would be much easier without this person. Right? But and yeah, and it's, well, it's not wrong to do that, but if we keep excluding people, so maybe it's hard. But also we are also limited as teachers, right? We are limited. Sometimes we don't know what to do. We don't we don't feel proud of our reactions to
Mhm.
some situations, you know. And sometimes, you know, I remember many moments that I felt angry and I reacted to situations, and then after I was like, oh my god, what did I do, you know? And I was kind of violent. Yeah, this was in my head. I was violent to these children or to this child or to these persons. And then there is also a nice point of view in nonviolent communication when we are talking about violence, because there is a saying that says violence is a tragic expression of unmet needs. What does that mean? You know, violence is a tragic expression of unmet needs. So when we see violence from this point of view, and if you feel violent or if you see somebody in your classroom that you think, oh, this person, you know, this child is being violent, it's an expression.
Yeah.
It's an expression of something. You know, there is something boiling
Mhm.
inside. Sometimes the person is suffering, sometimes the person is having fun, you know. And when we feel violent to other people or to ourselves, it can be viewed as an expression. There is something expressing there. There is a need or many needs that are unmet. They need to be taken care of, you know. So this is a different way of seeing violence, because we could also see violence as something that should not happen, and we need to, you know, repress. We need to stop it straight away. And this other way is like, let's understand the mechanism, let's understand what's behind the behavior so we can take care of it. So yeah,
Yeah, it's
this is
very
the
interesting.
research.
Yeah, I think that, it's very important to understand also that from this theory and then all the research, there are practical things that can be done. And so we're not just talking about ideas because, you know, okay, this is a very nice conversation. Then tomorrow I enter my class with 14 years old that are there to kill me. What can I do? So there are actually practical things. And for what I've seen, so I'm just decided that probably this webinar is gonna go ahead like a conversation. So if you guys want to, you know, join in, I think that Pedro, what do you think about that? Instead of maybe, you know, going with a PDF and those things that potentially you had in your
Yeah, well,
mind.
I'm open to chat if you have any questions, and we are, from what I understood, we are here to be able to talk about nonviolent communication and also the work of Música do Círculo,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So Música do Círculo is another methodology. It's a methodology that we developed here in Brazil, and it's more like a musical practice. So
Yeah,
I'm here to talk about these two universes
exactly.
and also how they complement each other and how they can be useful in the classroom or with the, you know, musical development. So if you have any questions regarding these things, I'm open to chat. Yeah.
I was going exactly there. So I really,
Yeah.
you know, when I said there are practical things that I've seen happening in your courses and workshops, that's, you know, where I wanted to really go to make clear and be more clear. So, I mean, for me, if you want to just describe a little bit what is musica do circolo and all the principle and those things, I
Yeah.
think can be very useful.
Yeah. Before that, can I just make a comment about what we were talking about before? Today, today here in Brazil, it's 6:30 a.m. So I woke up at 5 a.m. so I could be with you. And I did something inspired in nonviolent communication, which was I stopped to connect with what I was feeling before I jumped in. And this really helps me when I'm teaching, leading a classroom, leading a workshop, you know, to stop a little bit and to really connect with what I'm feeling. And sometimes I put an effort to really recognize what I'm really feeling and not to hide some feelings, because sometimes I don't want to admit that I'm insecure, I'm anxious, I'm scared, you know, all these things. I wanna be nice in the picture, you know. So I don't want to admit that, but it's really powerful when I sit and I say, okay, there is a part of me that is insecure, and there's a part of me that is scared and doesn't know what's gonna happen, you know. And when I put these things on the table, I'm like, oh, okay, so now I can take care of these things. So this is something that is very practical that I do before my classes, and sometimes I do even during my classes, you know. And sometimes I even review that to people, as I'm doing now, you know, with you. But sometimes I review that. I don't know what to do right now, so let's have a pause. Or I don't really, I'm scared of going this way, so is it okay if we go this way? You know, obviously, depending on who you are talking to, you can talk more words or less words, because, you know, some children don't work with so many words, but we can always connect with what we are feeling. And when we connect, then I feel I have more space to take care of what needs to be taken care of. So you asked about Música do Círculo, right?
Yes.
So Música do Círculo is a methodology that we developed here in Brazil. It's me, Zuza, and Ronaldo. We are 3 partners here in Brazil, and we developed this methodology called Música do Círculo. What's the main purpose of Música do Círculo? We have to be able to develop musicality in a pleasant way, not with pressure, not with shame or guilt or and because this happens a lot in traditional musical training and education. So yeah, to be able to create a space that it's like it's natural, it's inevitable, it's inevitable to develop your musicality. You don't have to put a huge effort. This is the goal, it's inevitable. If you are in that environment, if you are in that circle, it's going to be inevitable to develop your musicality. And this is a different point of view, because sometimes we put a lot of pressure, right? I need to learn this. How do I learn this? And you need to learn this in this rhythm, because this is the rhythm of the class. So you need to follow. Some people follow, some people don't. Some people are bored. Some people are like crazy. I cannot follow this. So this is the craziness of the classroom. And we really want to offer musical development that is pleasant and and that fulfills everyone's needs. Sounds beautiful. And the other point is to make people connect with each other, make people pay attention to each other and to themselves. So we have the musical development and also the social development to make people interact and to make people notice that some people can do some things and other people cannot do these things. And it's okay, it's like a forest. We have all these kinds of animals and plants, and they're all living together and occupying different parts of the forest. And this is the beauty of the work. And how do we do that? Then we start, learning the different ways of Música do Círculo. But I'm going to stop now because I want to open space for you to ask. So, and this is something that I do many times in my classes. I open for people to ask, to make, requests, or to ask things, or to tell how they are feeling based on what we did. So let's try this dynamic now. You can ask something, you can make a request, or you can talk about how you are feeling, how these things are resonating in you. Based on what we did. What do you think? Yeah? Birgul said, I wonder if the circle music little late relating this, because I do not understand the conversations. Very much support from the translation program. Thank you, Birgul. Let's see if I understand what you're saying. And this is something that I learned in nonviolent communication. The process of verifying if I understand what the person is saying, or if I understand what the person is expressing. Because we can express in words, but we can also express in music or in sound or in movement. So before I take the next steps, I want to check if I understand what you are saying or what you are expressing, okay? So we can be together in the same boat. And normally we don't do that. We think, okay, I think I got it. I think I understood. So let's move on. And so, Birgul, and forgive me if I'm saying your name wrong, okay? So you can correct me if you want. So you want to know if there are things that you can read about nonviolent communication to understand it better. Is that it? Let's see. And if you want, I can also write my question down for you if it makes it easier, so you can translate it there. Yeah, is it easier? Ah, cool. So what are we noticing now? I'm trying to adjust with Birgul's needs. So I'm also offering different ways so we can connect. So this is something that we are always trying to do, right? We are trying to understand the person's needs and really trying different strategies. So this is something that is really cool. Sometimes we try one strategy. I tried asking, and it's like, from what I'm reading here, I don't think it really landed there. So I'm gonna try a different way now. And this is a really interesting and creative process. So just 1 second that I'm gonna write my question down to Birgul. Okay, so just 1 minute of silence. Or if you want to say something, but I'm not gonna pay attention because I'm gonna be, writing things down.
Sure. Yes, he asked me to sing for you guys. I don't think I'm going to sing for you for a minute, but what I can do, I can share with you, if you haven't seen it yet, a little video of Musica do Circolo. So it's a video that shows the retreat that they do in Brazil, in Sao Paulo. It's on YouTube, so it's just one, but you can see more. It's just to give you an idea, more or less, of the practical aspect of what we're talking about right now.
Awesome.
You can watch it now, you can watch it later. And then,
Can I, sorry, before you watch it, I just want to say that here in Brazil, we don't work directly with children, but sometimes we work with teachers who adapt the material to work with children. So it's always nice to look at this, methodology with these eyes, that you always have to adapt, because some children are like this or like that. Yeah.
But that's, in general, I think it's a very good lesson to learn as teachers. Even if we go to a workshop that is specifically teaching us activities, we always have to think that those activities need to be changed and customized to the students that we meet that particular day in that particular group. So it's a bit of it's a change in our mentality. We want to go to a course, we pay for it, and we want to have some material that is reusable straight away the day after. Well, if you do that, you probably realize that it's not going to work unless you modify something and you make it right for your own group. So you take inspiration and ideas, and then you create your own things that work much better. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry.
go.
I just got the confirmation from Birgur
Yes.
that I understood her needs, and I'm gonna send her a suggestion of a book about nonviolent communication, which is very simple to find because the book is called Nonviolent Communication, and it's written by Marshall Rosenberg. So I'm gonna write this in the chat. So I don't know, Tiziana, if you wanted to do something and I interrupted you.
No, no, no. I finished what I wanted to say. I just wanted to connect with this with the fact that you're going to be here in London in the summer. So yeah, you've been in London many times before, and you have lived in London as well. That's why it was nice to call you back here, because there was always a group of people following your workshops. So yeah, you're going to be in Europe again, and every time that you're in Europe, we try to organize something in London as well. So you're going to lead 2 days, a 2-day workshop here in London in August. And that's going to be very cool because it's within a whole week of courses. So in the first 2 days, we're going to work with teachers that are working with children under the age of 3. And then there is going to be your workshop in the middle. And then after that, there's going to be 2 more days with a teacher that works with children older than 3 and teenagers. So the idea is that your workshop in the middle can be enjoyed and useful for the people that are working with babies and toddlers, but also for older kids. Because whenever we work with children and music, we really want to be able to improvise, have a lot of creativity, know how to get in contact with our own musicality to create new things for the children. So I thought that your workshop in the middle was a very good chance for both types of teachers, to experience your work, and not only from a musical part of view, but mostly from all of this connection and opening and space that you create during the workshops. So if you guys have any questions, I think that
I was thinking that maybe I could do something here with you all.
Yeah.
Are you up for that? I want to play you a song. Yeah, a Brazilian song. Do you want to hear? If somebody says no, I won't play it. Yeah, it's a song. Let me turn the original sound on. So since it's 6:50, my voice is not the best, but I'm gonna try to play a little bit for you. Can you hear me well? Cool. And this song, the chorus says, "E eu," which means and I, "gostava tanto de você." I really liked you. So that's the chorus. E eu, gostava tanto de você. I really liked you. I really liked you. Which you can, imagine that if somebody is saying, I really liked you, it's because they are not together anymore, right? And this is a song that it helps me connect with the feeling, and I think music has this power of helping us connecting with feelings. Sometimes you hear a song and it's like you feel something, right? You feel something in your body. And sometimes I hear songs and I cry and I don't even know why I'm crying, but it's like I don't know, it helps me. It's like a support for a self connection. And sometimes songs have words, but sometimes, it's a piece that doesn't have words, but it also helps you connecting with the feeling. It doesn't need to have words. But this song has words, and it tells a story about somebody that was with someone, and now this person went away. And this can be a sad moment in our lives, when you are with somebody and this person goes away. And then after many, many years, and not everyone knows this here in Brazil, actually many people don't know this, but the person who composed this song was a composer, a man that he lost his daughter. His daughter died, and that's why he composed this song, because he wanted to deal with this really hard feeling of, having a daughter that dies. And then he composed this song, which makes me more sad about it, because, when you think about, oh my God, his daughter died, But many people think this song is about a couple that is not together anymore. So it's both, for me, it's both sad, but it's also pleasant, because it helps me connect with sadness. I'm not rejecting it, and I'm not, repressing it. So yeah, that's the story. Let's see if I can sing it a bit, and then we can see what we can do from it. So let me hear myself. Here we go. Saudades eu senti, de tristezas vou viver. Aquele adeus não pude dar. Você viveu na minha vida, viveu, morreu na minha história. Chego a ter medo do futuro, da solidão que em minha porta bate. Chorus. E eu, para, gostava tanto de você. Para, gostava tanto de você. Para, gostava tanto de você. Para, eu fui o cujo dessa sombra e da parede se passado, e na parede do meu quarto ainda está o seu retrato. Quero ver para não lembrar, pensei até em me mudar, lugar qualquer que não exista pensamento em você. Chorus. E eu, para, gostava tanto de você. Para, gostava tanto de você. Para, gostava tanto de você. Para, ei, and if you want, you can also sing from your side. No one is listening to you, so you can sing a little bit. Or you can play body percussion, or you can sing just quietly. But just so you can join me with whatever you wanna sing, or if you wanna play, or if you just want to listen in silence, that's fine as well. Check it, 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 Let's finish. Thank you. My neighbors didn't really like it, but you know, since it's 6:50 something. Thank you for being with me in this boat. And
Thank you.
yeah, I'm curious to know how this whole thing was for you, you know, and tell me, Tiziana.
No, I'm not going to.
Did you connect with something there?
Yeah, just a tiny little bit. I mean, thinking about, I'm just became a mom recently. So thinking about something like that, it was like tearing my heart in pieces. Yeah, I can't even imagine how hard it could be something like that happening in a life. Plus, as I told you before, I had a fight with my partner this morning. So this was just bringing up all, connecting, having a child with the fact that it's super hard to be in a couple when you have a child. And so, yeah, that was my thank you. Thanks, because this now helps me to go to Sam with another spirit and hug him and say, I don't need to win, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the invitation of nonviolent communication, and it's sometimes it's uncomfortable to overflow, is that the word? Do you know transbordar? This is overflow. In Portuguese, transbordar, when you have a cup and you put a lot of water and the water starts coming out. Overflow, is that it?
I don't know.
Well, let's call it overflow anyway. So yeah, I think it's nice to overflow, feelings, and that's the beauty of when we feel comfortable to build an environment that we can use words, we can use music, this is so powerful, and we can talk to each other and be in silence, and we can dance and play. And this is an environment that helps us dealing with the tensions of everyday life, and conflicts that happen, or things that we are afraid of happening, all these things. So yeah, thank you for being with me here today. And also, if you want to know more about these things, you can be in touch with me. I'm going to put my email here, Pedro Consorte @hotmail.com. You can write me and I can send you stuff, materials, PDFs, or whatever. And in September, I'm going to be in London. So if you want to come, that would be cool. I'm really curious to know how this whole thing was for you, but also I know that the time is finishing. So
if somebody wants to add something, please do.
Yeah. Or if you want to write something in the chat, like a little few words about how it was for you, what was interesting, or what things were uncomfortable as well, because this is also part of our experiences. Normally we just want to know the nice things, right? The pleasant things. What did you like about this experience? Normally we don't really ask, what you didn't like, but I'm open to hear both because I know, human experience is both.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, in
if
the
you want to write
meantime,
something
if
in
you
the
want to write
chat.
something, I just would like to say that this type of webinars and the type of classes and kind of music approach, music education approach that we're trying to promote at Music Tree, it's the idea that the class is a space, the music class is a space to share this type of things. It's not just about teaching musical skills for us. Well, I'm a music therapist, so there is always a second level of in the activities and in what happened in the sessions. But even if you're not a music therapist, you are a musician and you had to get in contact with your own feelings so many times to go through, studying and practicing or becoming a performer or whatever you decided to be in your life. So I just want to, highlight the fact that yes, I will teach activities tomorrow in my webinar, and I will talk about how to use body percussion with children. But at the base of it, there is always the ideas that the class is a safe space. It's a non-judgmental place as much as we can, because of course we're not perfect as teachers and as adults. So yeah, this is a kind of a very important webinar, and I know there are 45 people subscribed for this webinar. So I hope that all 45 will have the chance to watch it and really see the type of work that you're promoting, Pedro, because it's very powerful to change what is music education and to improve it.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think this is it, everyone. Thank you very much. If you want to know anything or if you want to be in touch, please do. And nice to see you.
I just forgot to say
there.
something that is really, really not nice concluding, but I have to. If you guys want to come to
Yes.
London, it's great. That will be amazing. So we can all meet, but you can also attend the courses online. So we're going to have a camera that is following the teacher, and so you can be with us. If you're coming from too far away, or if these years are particularly hard for musicians. So if you don't have a possibility to travel and be here with us, you can still take part of the workshops with Pedro and see live from your computer what's happening in a class.
Obviously it's not going to be the same, but it's going to be something. If you're deciding, between nothing or something,
exactly,
then choose something.
Exactly. And there's going to be also an early bird discount. So if you want to sign up and think about that, could be helpful. Last thing, I'm going to send you the recording of the webinar anyway. Okay, even if you were here today, but I'm going to send it to you anyway. So in case you want to go through something again, or for Virgo, listen to it again, maybe, have more time to understand better everything.
And can I check with you if I can send you, and then you can send everyone the PDFs of Música do Círculo and Nonviolent Communication, just for you to have an idea of the basic concepts? And
yeah, definitely, sure. All right.
It's just a map. It's not something huge, but it's just a map for you to have an idea of the elements that are in nonviolent communication and Música do Círculo. Ok, muito obrigado.
Muito obrigada também.
Nice
Bye,
to see
guys.
you all.
Nice to see you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Bye, Pedro.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.